We are back, week one, Roster Watch Nation. So pumped to be here with you. It's the Friday show, so this will be the show going into the weekend where we tell you sort of what we're thinking, what we expect, and sort of how things are going to be happening moving forward here as we move into the NFL regular season. So many of you have been with us through the draft season and through NFL draft season and all the rest of it, man. But we're back into the NFL schedule here. I just wanted to quickly go over how things are going to go because you haven't heard from us here on the channel this week. So just looking at, I'm just going to read through the content schedule at Roster Watch, and you guys can know sort of what to expect from week to week here. So on the website, on Mondays, you'll get Trash Man's Fantasy Fallout column, and then on Mondays, Cody will also have here on the YouTube his 10 thoughts from the week. On Tuesdays, that's when the initial rankings come out around noon Eastern. That's also when our pro members get the waiver wire cheat sheet, usually around noon Eastern time, maybe a little bit afterwards. That starts in week 2, though, okay? The waiver wire podcast, that is here on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to hear that on Tuesdays before waivers run. The snap counts, targets, and touches database goes live around noon on Tuesdays, as does the touchdown dependency tool, as does the single game odds widgets for the coming week slate with the betting insights and the percentage of public money versus public best data, et cetera. That's for our premium members. The Roster Watch matchup tool goes live for the week Tuesdays around noon Eastern. That's for pro members as well. On Thursday, we have Trash Man's Flex rankings that go live. That started this week. That's for pro members. We also have the Dynasty ranking updates to the Dynasty Top 250. That's done by Cody and Trash Man. That usually happens for our pro members sometime around Thursday, but it happens weekly. On Friday, that's when the Vegas tool will go live. That's that is the tool where we pull what the Vegas lines or what the sportsbook lines are, and we analyze those versus pricing on DraftKings and FanDuel to see what the markets say from a betting perspective. Might be good values over there for that. Also on Fridays, typically that's when the Blitz, the premium DFS main slate walkthrough video goes up for our pro members and also the pro members at rotogrinders.com. That's with me, Derek Hardy, and our friends TJ Zwarich and Chief Justice 06. That actually went live yesterday this week because Cody and I are having to get out of here. That's why you see Cody and I here on the same screen together. Also on Fridays, that's when the player prop cheat sheet goes live, although that went live on Wednesday this week with some plays that we like. We're going to talk about those here in a minute, but that is for our premium members at Roster Watch. The player prop cheat sheet last year hit a 60.3% clip over the course of the whole season. I think we have, 15 or 18 plays up right now?
18 plays up. Yeah.
18 plays up right now. So go to rosterwatch.com. Make sure and sign up right now because coming into the weekend, you're going to want to get in on the player props. Some of them have – look, I'll just tell you, some of them that we got up Wednesday have already changed, and they're not quite as good as they were. But none of them are egregiously off. I think all of them. Some of the kicking points have gone from 6.5 to 7.
Mm-hmm. I think the only one that changed a little bit was maybe golf went like 3 or 4 yards, but everything else is like within
there's also
half.
There's also the Travion reception.
Travion receptions went up. Was it a half a reception though, right? So
yeah,
it kind of gives your.
But still, I mean, it's kind of a.
Anyway, deal, yeah.
We'll talk about some of our favorite player props here on this, but to get the full list, you have to go to rosterwatch.com, get a premium membership. You can sign up using that QR code or just go to rosterwatch.com and look for that. Sundays, we have the last minute Sunday morning sit start show. That's with Cody. This Sunday, we'll probably get, since it's week 1, you probably know who you're going to start, although we're going to talk through some players you might be a little bit tough in a little bit of a tough spot with this week, whether you should sit or start. But if you have questions, you can ask Cody. That's here on YouTube. And then on the website for our pro members, we don't answer questions on Instagram or via email or via Twitter or via any of the free articles on Roster Watch on Sundays. We have a last minute sit start article. We're in it in the comment section. Ask your question. It will be answered by one of us. Unless you ask it after 1 Eastern.
Yeah.
That's when we're locked in on games. But everything up to 1 Eastern, man, like up till lineup lock. Every single question will be answered. But you need to have a pro membership at Roster Watch to get that weekly service from us. Just asking your questions, whether it's like trades, whether it's waiver wires, whether it's sit start. You can make sure to have us on your team. So that's the content schedule. A lot of people were asking, why have you guys not been on YouTube? I know we've been on every single day for the last 6 months, but the reason is I just listed off to you all these tools that we're having to make. So we don't have enough time to do a show every single day, but it's looking like here on YouTube. What is that, Cody? That's your show, the Waiver Wire show.
Tuesday.
And then Friday
we'll have the Blitz that'll be on the website, and then as well as the Player Prop show. So, or this show basically. So
yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday is the plan on the YouTube channel.
With the Blitz show, that you do have to have a pro membership at RosterWatch to watch that, or a membership at Roto Grinders.
And there might be videos that drop during the week on YouTube as well. So make sure you turn the bells on, click subscribe, do all the damn things on YouTube, because Dynasty's still a thing. We'll still probably, me and Trashman will probably do a couple of videos on Dynasty during the year and things of that nature. All right,
let's hit up some of these important injuries. What do you think that we should? I mean, obviously we have to monitor Christian McCaffrey.
Well, that's number one, right? So I mean, this was a thing that came down late last night, Thursday night. It's like, he's been healthy all camp. Yeah. All camp. We haven't heard a thing about it. It's been everybody but Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. And then Thursday night, he pops up with a limited on the injury report with a calf injury, which, of course, if you go back and look at the calf injuries, I could have pulled them up here. But it's been like the oblique in the foot for Ken Walker. It's like that's the thing. It's the calf for Christian Calf and Caffrey. Calf for
Mr. Christian McCaffrey.
There you go. That's what it's been. So are you worried about it?
I think he's going to play. I mean, I heard George. They asked George Kittle about it yesterday in the locker room, and Kittle was like, "Man, he's so excited and so pumped to play." I mean, I think he's playing. We'll see. I mean, we'll know by a little bit later today. A late week downgrade to limited is not ideal. I'd say if you have Christian McCaffrey, you certainly have to pay attention to it. Hopefully, you're able to handcuff him with Brian Robinson or something like that. But unless we get word from like Rap Sheet or something like that, and again, this is why you should get a pro membership at RosterWatch, because you can come ask if it's something weird where Rap Sheet says they're going to be careful with Christian McCaffrey to start the season.
Yeah,
he's gonna be active, but they're going to be careful with him. That's when you start. That's when you can freak out and not play him. If he's just limited and they say he's going to play, you got to play Christian McCaffrey. So that's where we are with that. Achane, I feel like with Achane, he's just been this whole time. It's been the same thing with the calf, but they've talked about how he's going to be fine, and he looks like he's going to be capable of carrying the load there. I don't know if you have an extra thought on that. I'm not worried about Achane as we're looking at these running backs who have injury designations. Do we know about? Not that anybody cares. I'm just looking at it.
I don't think he's going to play.
So Roschon Johnson, so he didn't practice Thursday.
But that's also so their Thursday is also like everybody else's Wednesday. So they play on Monday night against the Vikings. I think it's in a better place for Mr. Kyle Manunga. I think that's kind of
well, he's also been limited this week with a groin. So make sure and keep an eye on that. As far any other running backs, like I'm
in general.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anybody else to really discuss.
Other running backs in general, I didn't have
fantasy.
Garendo's a full, so okay. Garendo is a full. So that would definitely hinder into the McCaffrey thing if anything happens there. But everybody else across the league at running back is pretty fine.
Okay, wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill. Is that an oblique and a calf? He was limited on Thursday. What they're saying is that they don't consider this to be anything serious, and that they want to make sure that there's not any setbacks before this game versus Indy. I actually like if we'll talk about some DFS stuff that we like. I actually kind of like Tyreek. No one's going to play him because at least on DraftKings, everyone's in on T. Higgins this week at 6,400. Everyone's in on Drake London at 6,500. Tyreek Hill is just above those guys at 6,700 and puts them in an awkward pricing spot. I think that, if you're playing in one of the $1 million contests this weekend, of which FanDuel has the sweat-free millie. If you guys aren't aware of that, it's a $5 millie maker deal where if you don't make any money off your entry, they refund it in site credits. So I don't play much FanDuel. I play mainly on DraftKings, and I don't play many tournaments. I play mainly cash games. But this weekend, that's a pretty good offer. Where I'm gonna have to go take them up on it. Keon Coleman. I don't know if you're worried at all about Keon Coleman, Cody, but he's continued to be limited with that groin that's been bothering him. It feels like it's been bothering him all camp long.
Coleman's limited. Elijah Moore did not practice. Shakir got back to a full practice. Keon Coleman worries me a little bit with the groin just because it just popped up in the last.
Was it the groin he had before? Or was it something else he had earlier in camp?
I feel like it was
there was something earlier in camp, wasn't there?
I feel like it was a foot, but he didn't really miss much time. Let me look here on the historical injury thing. No.
Huh.
There's nothing else. I feel like it was maybe
there was something he missed some time earlier in camp, but it obviously I said that groin has been something that he's had. I misspoke when I said that, but I do believe that there was something else at the beginning of camp.
But I kind of feel so. I had this start sick, situation for myself in an FFPC Dynasty League that, it's not a great team. I just bought it this offseason as a rebuild, and I had to pick between Josh Palmer and Theo Johnson in a tight end premium FFPC league. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? Josh Palmer's kind of a solid play this week. I don't think he's terrible with the banged up room. Shakir's missed, quite a bit of time in the second half of training camp. Coleman's banged up right now. They paid Palmer 2 years, $12 million. Like, I don't think it's a bad situation for Palmer.
Well, it's not ideal to be playing Josh Palmer in a 12-team league in the first week of your fantasy season.
Yes,
but that's why you buy orphans on the cheap to rebuild them. Right?
It is the second worst matchup though on the RosterWatch matchup tool.
Okay, Juwan Jennings, I'm not worried. I think he plays. I'm more worried about Juwan Jennings, kind of having not practiced.
He's the OG dog, so It's like if he's healthy enough to play, he's going to play. I think what it comes down to is like, what's the target output look like? Do you buy into this thing that they're saying that all the reporters are saying like Ricky Pearsall is not really as good as the media is making him out to be?
Oh, man, that's weird, man. I kind of heard that report too. I've seen Ricky Pearsall with my own two eyes with this same quarterback wearing the same jersey, go off for big football games. He's a former first-round pick. It sounds like he hasn't had quite as impressive a camp as they might have been hoping for.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I have Pearsall, look, if you have Pearsall, you're probably not having to play him this week. It's like, I think it's more of a question for DFS, where he's only 4,500 on DraftKings. I think he's only 5K on FanDuel. So he's certainly in play over there. I'm interested in Ricky Pearsall. I'm not gonna listen to the cockamamie idiots in the media.
I mean, all three of us had Pearsall ranked ahead of Jennings, so that's kind
of. Darnell Mooney, they act like they were acting like he's gonna play, but he was limited for a second straight practice on Thursday with the shoulder. It feels like he's maybe at risk of missing time. I think that all that does is just, man, I'm telling you can get some of those alt prop lines on Drake London this week. And if you jam that thing up to 7.5 catches, 8.5 catches and take the over, you can really, if you're on Prize Picks or something like that, you can build some lineups where you can really, really juice up the multipliers there on him. That
game in particular, I know we're not going game by game. We're going through injuries and stuff right now, but that Atlanta-Tampa game, even though there's no Godwin and no McMillan and a banged up Wirfs, like, does that game, like, have you looked at the totals? Do you know what the total is for that game? I know what it is. I'm just asking if you know offhand. Like, what would you guess that game would be?
48.5.
46.5.
Okay.
46.5 in one place, 47.5 in another. So it's right there in that number, but it feels like kind of a sneaky shootout to me this week because Penix really doesn't get much juice. Who's
the bet? Who's the bets versus the money?
The money says NA for Atlanta for spread. The money line is 65.35 for Atlanta. The bets are 68.32 in favor of Tampa.
Huh.
There's no spread money on Atlanta.
Hold on, what does this say? No. So it's 20. So it's 29. So okay. So only 29% of the money is on Tampa Bay, and 40% of the bets. Everyone's on Atlanta, and the money might be sharp to be on it. It might be sharp to be on Atlanta.
And 87% of the bets are on the over.
No, on the over.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like a shoot, but it doesn't feel like Penix really has a lot of, like, you think back to that game last year that Kirk Cousins and Baker played on, gosh, what was that? Was that That must.
I liked it. I would. I mean, look, we're not sports betting. We're not sides and totals.
No, but
gurus, I mean, I think the over. Like,
is a hammer.
I kind of like the over
In Atlanta, week 1, everyone's healthy. Like,
dude, I wish we could bet overs and unders in this circuit contest.
that'd be fun.
It'd be a lot cooler. Any other wide receivers? I don't think that there is anybody else. And then I guess with tight ends, the only one. I guess it's interesting to note that Cade Otton came off the. Speaking of that game, Cade Otton came off the injury report.
Rank Otton because I thought he was going to be out. I mean, listening to some of the injury docs on the Fugazeries on Twitter, and they said that he wasn't going to play. But other receivers, I would say, is Jaden Reed got a limited practice in this on Thursday with a foot. He did not practice on Wednesday. Got a limited in on Thursday for the Green Bay.
That's just a management DNP and a management limited, and they're just going to manage this busted foot as long as they can,
which is not great. Cleveland is completely beat up on the interior offensive line, defensive line, all their D tackles, all their offensive linemen are banged up. At receiver, though, they do got a full in for Cedric Tillman back-to-back days with a thumb injury. So that shouldn't keep him out. Maybe he can't catch. But Marvin Mims got a full practice in with the Denver Broncos. He was a thigh injury, had full both the Wednesday and Thursday. And then also the Houston situation with Christian Kirk and Barrios both being out. It looks like everyone's leaning into Jalen Noel for a lot of obvious reasons, but Jaden Higgins was the one that got more of the opportunities during training camp.
And 2 wide receiver
sets. And Xavier Hutchinson does exist, and Xavier Hutchinson had a couple of good games to end the season last year. And as you know, I listen to Houston Sports Radio. He's the one that they talk about, like the coaches love Xavier Hutchinson just for the role he can play. So does that make you like? I'm not saying should we play Hutchinson. I'm not saying should we play this, play that. But what I'm asking is, should people be hands off of Noel, Higgins, and Hutchinson? Everything but Nico, hands off.
Yeah. Unless they play in 14-team leagues, I think they should. Okay. But I also think that I probably we'll need to move up Nico in the rankings. Like, Nico's facing our number 2 matchup of the week for opposing wide receivers. So I think that's something. I think that's something to consider. Let's see. Let's look here at the RosterWatch matchup tool quickly, and we'll get you guys up to speed on what the tool is telling us. Some of the matchups to avoid and exploit this week. Clearly, don't make your sit-start decisions based on this. But if you're interested in what the tool is saying as far as who's facing good matchups for opposing quarterbacks, we have the top 3 as being Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, and Arizona. So we have Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, and Kyler Murray with those best matchups for opposing quarterbacks. For opposing running backs, we have Jacksonville, Arizona, and Denver. So Denver, which is surprising to me because we have such good grades on Tavondre Sweat and Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like everything in the analytics that we pull in that doesn't have to do with our actual scouting evaluations of these players who are going to be defending against the run. It's something is super bad about Tennessee's run defense.
Tackling.
Fundamentally, it could be
the linebacker tackling.
Yeah. If it overcomes like how much we love Simmons and Sweat to make it the number 3 matchup of the week, like the 3rd best. But so that would be Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Bashal Tootin, James Conner, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, all in really good spots. For opposing wide receivers, again, Arizona's in a really good spot here with the top matchup at New Orleans, the worst secondary in the league. We have, or our projected worst secondary in the league for this season, the Houston Texans at the Rams. And again, this also takes into consideration things like projected game script, projected pace, flow of the game, projected number of plays, et cetera, et cetera. And then Tampa Bay at Atlanta, we have as our 3rd best. So Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, who is 4,600 on DraftKings this week. And then for opposing tight ends, we have Hunter Henry with the best tight end matchup of the weekend. Chicago, so Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet with the 2nd best. And we have the Ravens at Buffalo, who it looks like the Bills are not too bad against these other positions. Some reason a big blue number 3 there for opposing tight ends. So interesting there. As far as the worst matchups of the week, the guys who are going to be in tough situations for themselves. We already had one of them last night. It was Dallas, and you saw what happened with Dak Prescott. Justin Fields with the 2nd worst matchup of the week for opposing quarterbacks facing Pittsburgh. and then Josh Allen with the third toughest of the week. This is not saying to bench Josh Allen, though. Don't do that. If you have Justin Fields, you can bench him. I'm benching him in one of my home leagues for Trevor Lawrence. I'm doing the same thing with my son's fantasy football league where he has Justin Fields, but I am trying to hold on to Justin Fields if I can. For opposing running backs, the worst matchup of the week goes to the Green Bay Packers facing Detroit. The second toughest is the Chargers versus KC on Friday night. And the third toughest is the Buffalo Bills again versus the Ravens. That's not to say don't play these guys, but you're playing Josh Jacobs. You're likely having to play one of the Chargers guys, or you're likely having to play Omari and Hampton. Although I'm interested to hear from you, when we get to this rankings section, if you're at all worried about it. From the wide receiver perspective, so we had Dallas. CeeDee Lamb got you there last night on volume. He could have gotten you so much more if he wouldn't have dropped those 2 footballs. But we had that as the worst matchup, as I think everybody else did. Again, Buffalo really tough here, and then the Raiders at New England we have as the third worst matchup of the week for opposing wide receivers. And finally, tight ends. Washington's in a tough spot, the worst spot of the week. Oddly, it looks like the Giants are projected to be kind of easy against everybody except the opposing tight ends. KC is in a tough spot at the Chargers, number third, the second worst, and then we have Buffalo again. But tough matchups across the board for Buffalo in these big games, though. With the game script in these games, like these Buffalo Baltimore games, even though it's a tough matchup and it's really good personnel, sometimes it just doesn't even matter because you're looking at a 50.5 point total. But just as far as what the numbers tell us, that's how the matchups look. Cody, what do you got before we talk about some of these tough rankings decisions and get out of here?
I would say this. The Kelsey thing interests me quite a bit at tight end. You bring up tight end, it's a bottom 2 matchup for Kansas City, but historically it's been extremely boom or bust for Travis Kelsey. Like the last 2 matchups, he's had sub 10 points. Before that, it was 23-29, 5, 31, 10. Like it's either extreme output or extremely shallow. It's one of the numbers I like.
I wonder if that's had to do with if Derwin James has been healthy.
I think it's the correlation is probably there. I could probably go back and look at it, but Derwin's elite, right? When Derwin's healthy, he's one of the best defensive backs in all the sport. But I do wonder, just coming around to shoot week 1, a game like that. Like I know people might be a little hesitant, even in the rankings. I think we're a little more towards the bottom half of the tight end 1 conversation with Kelsey. But I think the prop was 46.5. I want to say it was this week for Travis Kelsey, and I took the higher than on Travis Kelsey for that one. I think it was 48.5. was the number. So that's one of my favorite props that you can get over at RosterWatch in the premium section. If you go head over to rosterwatch.com
I typically don't like that because he's old and I don't like rooting for Kelsey.
It's week 1,
but
in LA.
I know. Yeah, no, I get it. And I was looking at Derek Carty's blitz projection system. Derek Carty, who does the blitz show with me for our pro members, he's got a really great projection system that we use for that show. And I think he had him at like 57.
I'll take it. That's a dub.
Yeah. So I like that. Tough rankings questions that we're getting from people. Okay, so what are you doing if you have Garrett Wilson and you draft him in the third or fourth round of your draft, and let's say you also have Jerry Jeudy that you took 4 rounds later?
I think you got to play Jeudy, don't you?
I kind of think so too. I'm just, people are just asking. It's like, all right, I have Garrett Wilson, but I also have Garrett Wilson. Just it feels like it's going to be a tough spot here. It's a middling matchup for opposing wide receivers. It's tougher on on some of these other positions, but I just, he's one that we've gotten a lot of questions about. People are asking if they're going to play. I don't know why we've gotten a lot of questions about Xavier Worthy. Maybe it's just because so many of our members drafted him.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of questions about Xavier Worthy. We've gotten questions about JSN.
JSN, you have to play JSN. I think the Garrett Wilson one's interesting because I think we've got a preconceived notion from the Pittsburgh media that Jalen Ramsey's going to have a throwback year of sorts, but he's also practicing every day against, no offense to, because I love DK Metcalf, but he's practicing against DK Metcalf. So the style at which DK Metcalf plays will favor an aging cornerback that maybe has lost a little bit of speed and agility because DK is not the most agile receiver. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup between Garrett Wilson and Jalen Ramsey. But, even like we've seen with like Devontae Adams in his prime against Jalen Ramsey in his prime, the guys that can run the elite routes usually win. So I don't think I'm out on the Garrett Wilson conversation, but I would say I think if it's like, hey, it's Jerry Jeudy or it's Garrett Wilson, I would lean Jerry Jeudy just because of the matchup. And I do think that Cincinnati's going to score 30-plus points against the
Would you play
Browns.
Emeka Egbuka over him this week?
I would play Emeka Egbuka over a lot of players. I think I have Egbuka. Where do I have him ranked right now?
You have him ranked at
21.
20. Yeah, so you would. You have him 21 and 23.
And
I would too.
And it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me not to put Egbuka like in the top 12. Like I feel really good about Egbuka. Like this is the reason we drafted him so high. It's the reason we pushed him up. Like I know Otten's back now, but there's no McMillan. There's no Godwin. There's no Wirfs. It's gonna be a shootout game in Atlanta. Like Egbuka could very easily be just like the wide receiver one of the week, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that would be a big call if that were to be the case. Some guys that people are wondering about. By the time you guys hear this, I mean, if you're listening on Saturday, this might have already been answered. But people are asking about Amari and Hampton. It looks like Najee's going to play.
Yeah, but is Najee going to start?
I don't know.
That's the big thing that's rolling on Twitter right now is like, oh, Najee's going to start. It's like, no, man, Omari and Hampton's going to start this game. Omari and Hampton's going to get 10 to 15 touches. It just matters to what's going to happen with those 10 to 15 touches, right? He's an elite prospect coming out of the ACC, very rare air in conversation of guys that have had back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons like Dalvin Cook and Lamar Jackson and Travis Etienne. Like, this is a guy that's going to come in here. He's going to demand his touches. He's been the guy for a month. Najee Harris isn't just going to pick up a helmet, walk out there with glasses on, and be the starting running back. Najee Harris is going to get some carries. May Najee Harris, get down to the 5-yard line and they go, you know what, Amarian, you just took care of this whole drive. Now Najee's going to come in and steal your touchdown. That might happen, but I don't think that's enough to say, we got to bench Omari and Hampton and not trust the fact that he's going to get north of 12 to 15 touches.
Are you just getting in RJ Harvey in his first start?
I'm more worried about Harvey, even though it's a great matchup. I'm more worried about it, but I think I've said this on our show and on the Song last week.
I'm not worried about Harvey, and I'm getting him in. And if it goes completely busto on me, it will go.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go busto, or he's gonna break one. Like that's just the way it's gonna be because he's not gonna get enough touches. I don't think to.
How do we know though? That's the thing is we don't know. Like,
what's he going to do?
That's why the show's going to be different next week because we're going to have actual data that we get to pull in to use for the tools. We don't know. Like he could get 20 touches.
But if I told you today, so he's back to back on the ranking sheet right now with Travis Etienne, RJ Harvey is. I have like the one outlier between those two players in your rankings, my rankings, and Trash Man's is that I have Travis Etienne significantly higher than the field.
Oh gosh, you have him too high.
No. He's going to get like 65, 70% of the touches in Jacksonville.
But if RJ Harvey,
RJ Harvey's not getting 70% of the touches.
Well, you don't.
It's a fact.
Do you have a crystal ball?
I do. I have a crystal ball. And it's
all right. Well, dude, there's a gas station up on top of the hill. Let's go get lottery tickets. I think that thing's at $1 billion or something.
But like that's I just as much as I love RJ Harvey, everything they told us and everything we've seen, the fact that they're carrying 4 running backs and the fact that they got J.K. Dobbins, they love J.K. Dobbins, they went and got J.K. Dobbins after the draft, it just tells me that A, they wanted to get Travion Henderson first off. But B, like they're going to use a lot of these guys. Yes, are they going to run focus? Are they going to throw to the running back a lot because they have 4 receivers? Yes. But can RJ Harvey take 5 touches, 4 carries, 1 reception, and give you 65 yards and maybe a score? Sure. That's 12 points.
All right. Let's get to it. Any DFS plays stand out to you? I can tell you the ones I like.
Honestly, I this is going to sound lame, but the Miami-Indianapolis game, I made.
It's funny, man. So like, it's so funny that we act like that's going to be sneaky whenever all the pro, like Cardi and all the pro guys are all over that game.
But they're on the wrong side, I think, with the Daniel Jones thing. You got to. Everyone listen. I know Tyreek Hill's not 100%.
I just don't know how you can play Daniel Jones at 5,100 and when you can play Trevor Lawrence at 5,300.
Give me
or Tua is right around that same price.
Sign me up for Tua at 5,800. Give me Tua. I made a lineup. I can't pull up FanDuel for some reason right now, but I made a lineup with Tua, Waddle, Hill, Chase, Higgins, running back. I had Jatavian Sanders at tight end, and my running backs I think were James Conner and another high-end running back. I don't know if it was McCaffrey or not. It might have been McCaffrey. But that was like a lineup where I was like, I feel really good about this thing because the Miami thing is this defensive backfield in Indianapolis is brand new. And we know they've struggled the last couple of years in the defensive backfield. We're in a dome to start the season with as healthy as you possibly can get to a Tagovailoa, right? Tyreek could be banged up, but he's still going to garner, some A1 coverage.
It's Tyreek on the fast track. It's Jalen Waddle. It's going to be good.
Exactly.
Achane is like they're going to load up Achane.
I want that game, and then I want that Atlanta-Tampa game.
Yeah, I like both those games as well. And I'd also mention if you're playing FanDuel specifically, make sure you look at TreVeyon Henderson. He's 5,500 on DraftKings. I think and this will go easily into your favorite props of the week. This is my favorite prop of the week is TreVeyon Henderson. I'm not sure you can still get it over 2.5 receptions, but I think that he might do that in the first drive for the Patriots. He's 5,500 on DraftKings, which is supposed to be cheaper than FanDuel because the salary cap's only 50,000 as opposed to the 60,000 on FanDuel. He's 4,700 on FanDuel, or is it 4,800? It's 47 or 4,800. Let's see. Whatever it is, man, it's entirely 4,700. Entirely too cheap. If you get him in there with the loose pricing this week, it's like you can pay up for quarterback with Jaden Daniels. You can pay up for actually what's a pretty cheap Trey McBride. But that'll be my favorite prop of the week, and I think my favorite DFS play just from a salary perspective. I think that I think we see TreVeyon come in there and look like the absolute best weapon for an ascending Drake May offense. I just think that price is too cheap on him. You got any player props that you want to get out? Again, you can go to RosterWatch.com to get the full list from me, Cody, and Trash Man. Hit it 60.3% over the course of last season.
So here's one that I love. It's kind of quiet. David Montgomery. I know everyone loves Jahmyr Gibbs. He's been a top 5 fantasy pick this year. The David Montgomery rush attempts is set at 11 right now. I'm going to take the higher than on that. The last 5 years, week 1, 17, 21, 17, 16, 13 rush attempts to begin the season. Also, the last 6 games against Green Bay, 14, 17, 15, 32, 14, 15. If it's against Green Bay, if it's in week 1, it doesn't matter. David Montgomery is going to get his carries for this Detroit Lions offense that lost a couple of offensive linemen this year. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get his work, but Montgomery's healthy and he's going to get his workload.
The dogs are howling. The dogs are howling outside. The dogs are barking. The underdogs are coming this week, man. We'll see. Cody and I got to fill out. We got to get our circus stuff filled out before we hit the road. We're going to get the DFS cheat sheets up tomorrow, man. If you have any questions, make sure and ask us on the site. Make sure and swoop by on Sunday morning. We're going to take care of all of you guys and make sure that you're set for a big, big, big week 1.
This is Anthony Richardson. You're listening to Roster Watch.
This is AJ Brown, and you're listening to Roster Watch.
This is Josh Allen, and you're listening to Roster Watch.